Board, share screen. Okay. So again, I'm just going to keep this in the front of team call. I know we talked about doing a testimonial book. I still only have one testimonial from the entire team. So if you guys want to be a part of the testimonial book, you got to send me some kind of testimonial. This is a challenger testimonial, not coaches, not like a coaching testimonial. You can mention that you're a coach, but it's just talking about how Shakeology's helped you, how the programs have helped you, whatever in that sense. I'm going to probably post in the team page again just to remind people. But if you haven't sent me it, I'd love to see it. Okay, so tomorrow is the last day to register for Team Cup. I made a video, I went Facebook Live about Team Cup. If you do not have a team, we're going to find you a team. Don't worry. And if you want to be a part of my Voxer push thread, it's basically going to be like the push thread I have at the end of the month, but all month long. So if you want to be a part of that, you're more than welcome to be a part of that, even if you're not on a Team Cup team. But you should, if you're pushing and you want to be in a Voxer thread, you should totally be a part of a Team Cup team. But we're going to get you in a team. We have a bunch of people that need a team, so do not worry. You will be a part of a team. Also, they are the prize for hitting Success Club 5. You get a Beachbody umbrella, which is cool. I like getting free stuff, doesn't matter what it is. But they're also giving it to people who aren't even in a Team Cup team. If for some reason you're not in a Team Cup team, you can still win that. Also, tomorrow is also the last day to buy your Summit ticket at a discount. So if you want to get it for $145 instead of $195, this is the time to do it. Also in February, they're doing $10 off of every challenge pack. Now, most of you or hopefully would only be selling the All Access Challenge Pack. It doesn't make any sense to not sell that. But if you sell any of the 80-Day Obsession Challenge Packs, you can, you know, whether they buy the mega one or the one in the middle or whatever it is, like they're going to get $10 off. So that's something that you can make sure you talk about. Maybe send out your follow-ups from people who didn't want to join last month and say, hey, just letting you know they're offering $10 off for every challenge pack just for the month of February. And then also an update, which I saw in the back office, which I thought was pretty cool, is they're doing an update on apparel. So any apparel that there's a lot of apparel that's under 50 PV, but now they're rounding up some apparel to 50 PV. So now you guys know Shakeology should be like always all the time. Like even if you have an extra Shakeology, you should never stop your Shakeology. You should just keep getting it and then sell the extra that you have. I buy Ziploc bags. I take a Sharpie marker, put the name of the bag on or the name of the flavor on it and sell it. So that just makes you back the money that you'd be spending anyway. But if for any reason you need to make sure you're active, getting some apparel is a really awesome way to do that. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then if you haven't heard, our new 7-day quick start for the new coaches or coaches who kind of need a refresher is open. It's a static group. It's on Facebook. If you're interested, check the files, message your coach, reach out to them. We will get you started in that. We're also going to have a 21-day coach training. We're going to release it week by week instead of releasing it all at once. And then once it's up, it's up. And then we're also going to be doing a push to diamond thread, or push to diamond, not thread, a push to diamond group that we're going to be having maybe like every 3 months or something like that. And we're working on that as well. So keep an eye out for that. Also, always remember to use hashtag Confidence Squad on the pictures. I keep seeing it grow, so I love. I'm following it on Instagram so I can see your guys' posts sometimes if I'm looking at my feed. And then I want your weekly challenge this week is to watch the team call from Kim Fitzpatrick on her how she hit 108 Success Club points in 1 month. I posted it in the team page. It's amazing. I don't know how I happened to stumble across it on YouTube, but I found it and it's amazing. And she's amazing. She just like fires me up. She is very tough love, so you kind of got to put your tough love panties on, which you have to put your tough love panties on for tonight because there's gonna be a lot of tough love tonight. But make sure that you check that out. So shout out to everybody that's already on the board. You still have 2 more days, tonight and tomorrow. Make it a non-negotiable that it happens and you will hit it. And then everybody who is super, super close, so many of you guys will need to help one more person to hit Success Club. You can do it. Set yourself up so you go into February knowing that you can hit Success Club because you can. Also, I figured out how to finally run PV with the new back office. I couldn't figure it out. I figured it out. So shout out to everybody that's on this. I see a lot of new faces and names, or not faces because there's no faces on here, but new names. And for new coaches who don't know what PV is just the numbers that are the amount of volume that certain things are worth. So Shakeology is worth 90 personal volume points. A challenge pack is worth X amount of personal volume points. So these numbers are just how much these coaches are helping other coaches or other challengers and customers, sign up for things, be a part of groups, blah, 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 blah. So And then so many of you are super, super, super close to being in that 500 club. So keep pushing. So I wanted to mention something really quick. Actually, you know what? We're probably not going to have time. I'm going to go Facebook Live about that tomorrow. So don't worry about that. Okay. I'm going to stop sharing really quick because I have some notes. Okay. So let's get into this call because there's a lot of stuff I want to share with you. So hang tight, grab your notepad, whatever you need to do. But make sure that you're taking notes. Number one thing about this call. So I posted in the team page and I said, what are you guys struggling with? And I've heard this, not even just from that post. I've heard a lot of people say they're struggling with time management and they're kind of all over the place and don't feel like they're organized and whatnot. So I was like, you know what, I've heard enough people talk about it. I definitely, want to make sure that we cover it. So number one thing before I get into any of that, I'm going to talk about a few things. Number one, this and everything, but in terms of your time management and your organization and you being organized and you deciding to be organized and deciding to manage your time ultimately starts with you deciding that you really want what you say you want. I have a quote, and this is kind of like a tough love quote, but I'm a tough love person, but it's in front of my desk. So I read it every day because I thrive off of like that, kind of almost making you mad type of like coaching. And the quote says, what are you going to do to achieve the life that you keep pretending that you want? And I think that for me is so much like wait, no, I'm not pretending I want this. I actually want this. And it reminds me every day that if your actions don't line up with your words, then you are pretending that you want it. And you have been saying constantly over and over and over again how much you want it, how much you're going to try, how much you're going to do this and that and invite and get over your fears or whatever it is. And I'm not saying that it's easy to get over your fears or it's easy to make change or it's easy. I know that that's hard. Believe me, I struggled with it for the first year and a half of my business. But if you keep saying that you want it, but your actions don't line up with your words, then it's just you pretending that you want it. And I know that kind of might sting to hear, but it's just true. So you have to make this business a non-negotiable. You have to treat it as if it is your only source of income. You started treating this business as if it was your only source of income. And if you didn't show up to work, you wouldn't get paid. Guess what? You would show up to work because you wouldn't get paid because you do that at your regular job. And if you start treating your Beachbody job, whether it is just part-time or you want it to be full-time, you just have to do that. Number two, it also starts with you teaching yourself to stop quitting. Most of the reason why you can't manage your time or you're not organized is because you don't actually put forth the effort into getting past that stop quitting thing. So I'm gonna occasionally share my screen, hop back off, share my screen, hop back off. So I'm gonna share my screen with you because I want to show you guys this video that kind of talks about something. And I have it sped up so we can kind of blast through this. Hopefully you guys, we'll do it at 1.5.
Self in the situations where like you try and fail. Usually manifests itself in the situations where like you try and fail again and again, and then you start to believe like you can't do it. Just because like a performance thing.
Yeah.
But I think another thing people deal with and something I've dealt with is like you try something and you can't motivate yourself to stick with it. So you convince yourself that I'm not that kind of person. Like maybe with languages. I've tried to do Japanese several times and I'm just like, I fall off of it. And I just tell myself, I'm not a language person. But the big one for me is I know in my head that I love music. Like I constantly listen to music. I'm constantly like tapping out stuff and making up songs in my head. And for a long time, like I started playing guitar when I was 12. But I always tell myself, like, I'm not cut out to be a musician, not because I can't play guitar, but because every time I try to, like, learn the hard parts of it, like modes or keys or how to read music or anything like that, or how to play a song that's, like, already out there, I'll get bored and then drop it for a while. And enough times, like, oh, I got bored doing that. It's not for me. You start to have, like, this learned bored helplessness almost.
Like, you'll give up, so why bother even getting inspired right now?
Exactly. So it's like there's a great thing. There's another expectancy thing there. It's like I know I could do this if I had the discipline to sit there and learn this stuff, but I don't have that discipline. It's not for me.
Okay, so I just wanted to show you part of that. So this is something that I know so many people struggle with because that you can do something, but when it gets hard, when something happens and your business doesn't go the way you want, or, which is something I'm going to talk about, when shit hits the fan. And I mean like tough stuff. I was just talking to Angie Green, who is our upline. Where Sarah Try used to be, Angie is in that place. She was talking about how she's worked on some of the hardest days in her life. She worked on the same day that her dad passed away. She worked on the same day that like her mom had like open heart surgery or something crazy like that. Now, not everybody has to do that. Not everybody has that mindset. And I'm not saying that you have to do that, but there's always going to be something that comes up that you can use as an excuse to not work your business. And it doesn't mean you have to work yourself to the bone. I just mean that you can't keep telling yourself, well, you know what, you kind of stop doing whatever it is and you just tell yourself, well, I'm probably just not cut out to be a Beachbody coach, when you know you are, but it's the easy way out. I'm just not a time management person, or I'm just not an organized person. Like, I'm so unorganized. No, you can be, but you are choosing not to because it's the easy way out to just not manage your time, to just not be organized. So you have to find that fine line of, are you really not organized? Are you really not managing your time? Or is it easy to just kind of be like, oh, I'm so not that person? Somebody told me one time when I told them, like, I'm not good at math. And I still, to this day, it's one of the things I struggle with. I always talk about how I'm not good at math, but I don't ever work on getting better at math. I constantly use, like, today I was adding up things and I used my Google Home. I was like, Google Home, or hey, Google, what's 100? Oh, wait, it hears me. Hey, Google, never mind. But I asked it, I was like, what's 1,500 plus 792? And it gives me the answer. Instead, obviously it's the easy way to do it, but I'm never going to get really good at math if I don't ever work on it. So you have to understand kind of that fine line. Also ask yourself, what's the reason that top coaches are so successful? How did they get there? And it's because they push through even when it's hard. So when it comes to managing your time and being organized, when it gets hard, you cannot just give up, because then you'll never create the habit. Being organized and managing your time is a habit, because it is hard. And the thing about this call that I'm going to talk about is, guys, I have taught you everything. I mean, if you're a brand new coach, you might not have learned it yet, so that's one thing. But I've taught you everything that I can teach when it comes to time management. You've probably watched thousands of team calls. You've probably been on team calls, gotten seminars or webinars, have read books about how to be organized in time management. You have everything you need up here, but you're not consistently doing it enough to create that habit. So anything that I teach tonight, if you don't back it up and do the work, then it's not going to matter. So you have to continuously do that habit, whether you set a reminder and an alarm. I always talk about doing that, but the way I create habits for myself is by setting alarms to do them every day. And I try to do them at the same time I'm doing something else, but that's a whole other story. So, okay. So, one last thing before I kind of talk about one little thing before I get into the actual, okay, how do I do this? I just want you to understand that so many of you know exactly what to do, but you're just not doing it. So you hop on team calls and you read personal development thinking that it's going to save you, but it's not. And I know that's really tough to hear. And if it stings, it most likely means that it's true. And if you get defensive, I know for me, if somebody says something and I immediately feel defensive, I almost feel like I can't control my feelings, instead of getting mad at whatever it is, I look inward and I'm like, okay, why did I immediately get so defensive? And it's because they're probably right. So I noticed that when I'm reading my personal development book about this judgment detox thing, I noticed that immediately when I'm like, hey, wait, no, I'm not like that. And then I'm like, wait, no, I really am like that. So you have to just understand that filling your brain with a bunch of information, while it is good to hop on team calls and watch those things, if you're not going to take the information and put it into action, this will not save you. Third thing before I get into the how-to is confidence. You have to believe that you are worth putting forth the effort, the extra effort, to treat this like a business instead of a hobby. If you keep treating this like it's just a fun scrapbooking side thing, that's what other people are going to feel. So if you feel like nobody takes me seriously in my business and people still make fun of me, ask yourself, does your outward reflection of your business actually look like you take it seriously? 100%. Are you consistent enough? For somebody and again, this isn't me bragging, but I've never had someone really tell me that they don't take me seriously. Maybe in the beginning of my business, but once I started taking my business seriously, no one ever questioned that, because I'm consistent in my work, not because I'm successful, but because I'm consistent. It doesn't have to do whether you're successful or not. It just has to do with whether you're consistent. So you have to stop treating it like, a hobby, or it's going to just continue to pay you like a hobby. And Kim talked about this in her call that I want you guys to watch, but I cannot want this for you. If you guys want to succeed, if you guys want to, have our team, be elite, if you want to go for elite, if you want to make rank advancements, if you want to do big things with your business, you have to want it for yourself. I want you guys to succeed so much. I've seen what this business can do and the success it can give you, but you have to believe, and that's consistently working on your own personal development, things like that. But there's going to be things that happen. You're going to lose I'm not saying you're going to lose your job, but people are going to lose their jobs. People are going to get into a car accident and their whole car is going to be totaled, and things are going to happen. And you can choose to give up and say, I can't manage my time. I can't be organized. Or you can kind of, do what you need to do, but get back on track by checking into the team page, having that accountability, doing whatever you need to do. So let's talk about organization. How to be more organized. I know that was kind of like a bunch of heavy stuff, so we got it. Hopefully you get that mindset thing, and it's not just something that goes in one ear out the other. You really try to, put it on a sticky note and make sure it happens. But in terms of being organized, so really want to talk about time management, just quickly talk about organization. So number one, when it comes to organization, pick a workspace and clear it. This has got to be more than sitting on your couch and working from your phone. Now, if you don't have a desk, I understand that, but even just sitting at a table, and this is all about energy, but if you're at a desk and it's covered in papers and it's covered in notebooks and pens and there's, empty cans and like just crap everywhere, your subconscious and the universe doesn't see you as taking it seriously. So if you want to be organized and you want to manifest being more organized, you have to treat your workspace as if it's like a real legit workspace. So for me, I was working sitting on my bed, laptop, just like chilling for the longest time. Once I actually got a desk and I put up like I have a thing in front of my desk that says like boss lady, and I have like a little pen thing and a Himalayan pink salt lamp, and like I have like some notebooks, but it's not like covered in a bunch of crap. And like usually like it gets messy during the day, but I try to clean it before, my workday starts the next day. So it's really important. Again, treat your desk like a hobby desk, and it's going to pay you like a hobby desk. Number two, and this is with everything you learn, you have to take kind of like an entire day to organize everything. Now, I know everybody has different schedules and you might I don't have that time. But if you can find some time over the weekend when you normally would just relax, again, doesn't mean you have to forever ignore your family, but talk to your spouse, talk to your kids, say, hey, would it be cool if like you just took the kids like, to the whatever, I don't know, pumpkin patch. I know it's not the fall, but I can't think of anything else. And then you just get like a few hours to just organize your stuff. Is again, you're not doing this every weekend. You're just doing it once to kind of organize everything. Number one, physically organize your space. So books, papers, whatever you need. If you have a binder, if you have a planner, whatever it is, like get your space. If you need, pens, if you need Post-it notes, whatever, like organize that. Whatever it is that you need to get into place, personal development books. And then electronically organize all of your things, whether it's your customers, your groups, whatever it is that you need for your business. And that's going to be different for everybody else. If you're a new coach and you're going through the new coach training, make sure you have your booklet, make sure you have your personal development book, make sure you're focusing on your, your Shakeology and your meal plan and your workouts. Because while all of this stuff is about organizing your business, we cannot throw out our nutrition and our fitness, because you could be killing it with time, or I was gonna say time nutrition, 80-day obsession brain. You could be killing it with organization and time management, but if you are not focusing on your own, meal plans, and you're just eating whatever you want, it's going to play out in your business. So if you're wondering like, oh, I feel like I've been on top of my stuff, but you're not doing the workouts, or you're not drinking your Shakeology, or you're not doing the nutrition, that's exactly why. Number three, and a lot of you guys already have this, but are you really using it? Get a planner and actually use it. So whether that's a really fancy one, like an Erin Condren planner that's like $110 on the internet, or you buy a super cheap, like $20 planner at Target, whatever it is, just get a planner and actually use it. If you don't have the habit of using a planner, because I know usually everybody says like, I have a planner, but I always forget to use it. Again, you have to create the habit. Anything in this, you have to create the habit. So you have to set a reminder to do it. So for me, I have this planner that I got from an event that I went to, and every morning before I do anything, I meditate and I do my spiritual stuff first. But then before I check Facebook, before I do anything, before I even touch my phone, I open my planner and I write down, like for everybody's planners have different prompts, but mine says, what are 3 things you're grateful for? What are your goals? So I have 3 goals that I'm aiming for in a 12-week period. And the 12-week year is a book I highly recommend picking up. Definitely look into grabbing it. But I write down my 3 goals. So I write that I want to be a 6-star diamond at the end of these 12 weeks. I want to stick 100% to my 80 days of, 80-day obsession and 80 days sober. And then I want to start a new little like project that I'm doing. And I write that down every single day. This is very important to sticking to organization and sticking to time management. Because if you just set a goal and you just tell people, yeah, I want to be a diamond by June, or I want to be a diamond by Summit, but you don't write it down. I write the same 6-star diamond goal down every single morning. You have to completely and utterly remind yourself of your goal every single day and every single night too. I'm not always as good as doing it at night, I'll admit, but I am good with it doing it in the morning. So I do recommend picking up the book, The 12-Week Year, if you really like to plan. And then systems. The only reason for overwhelm is that you're not using a system. So the main system that you really want to use, besides like some of the other stuff I'm going to talk about, is tracking your contacts. If you're not, yes, some of you have Streak, but you're not using it. Whether you use Google Streak, which we're going to teach about in the new coach training. If you're a new coach and you're like, what is Google Streak? Don't worry. It's like a CRM thing that like tracks your contacts. There's also Asana and Teamsy. I personally like Google Streak. I think Teamsy and Asana, for me personally, just has too many extra bells and whistles, but it does not mean you can't use it. Or you can use Excel, but if you're using pen and paper, you really got to stop doing that. I used it for the first 1.5 years of my business. So I'm not saying like, oh, don't do that, you're a loser. I'm saying it because I want you to like end it quicker than I ended it. Because I let it go on for 1.5 years and it was so frustrating. Because I lost things, I lost people. It was so hard to track. So you can use systems for following up, systems for inviting. Like my system for following up, for example. Once someone expresses interest or I invite them and they're ready, they're possibly gonna join my group, I check in with them once a week, every week for the first month. So 4 times in the first month. First check-in is hey, just wanted to check in to see if you got my last message. I'd love to have you part of my group, blah, blah, blah. Second message is something along the lines of, hey, just letting you know there's only a few more days left to join my group. I'd still love to talk to you more about, the group, blah, blah, blah. 3, hey, just wanted to let you know today is the last day to join. Still would love to have you be a part of my group, blah, 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 blah. Last message is, looks like it's not the right time for you. I'd love to just check back in with you once a month, every month to kind of let you know what I have going on. And most people say yes. And then from there, my follow-up system is once a month, every month. Unless it's someone that you're building a relationship with, you do need to kind of check in a bit more. Or if it's somebody who you really want to join your team as a coach, you want to do more than just a month. But if it's just, you have a big list of people, you don't have to check in with each customer or each person every 5 seconds. So that's kind of what I do. Once a week, every week for the first month, once a month, every month after that. Until they join, or they tell you to F off. Literally, I've had people I've been checking in with for forever, and they just decide to join like years later. What else? Also, Google Drive for everything. So somebody said in the team page today, under my poll about what I should do for a team call, about what do I do if like, shit hits the fan, but like I leave and I go somewhere. Like, so I forget who it was, but she said that she was in the hospital with her son, but she was there for a while so she could get some work done. So she's trying to do some stuff on her phone, but she doesn't like have everything. She doesn't have her notebook. She doesn't have all that stuff. So I really recommend just for those moments specifically, or maybe like for me, sometimes I go visit my mom and like, if I forget my computer and I really need to do something, I can just log into her computer and I use my Google Drive. Whether you use Dropbox or Google Drive, I recommend Google Drive over everything. Google Drive holds everything. Pictures, scripts, documents, like anything that you need, you can just log into somebody's computer and open up your Google Drive, and anything that you need will be there. So I do recommend, in terms of organization, following that. Also, having somewhere to save your posts. So this is more so your phone. So if you're a new coach or a veteran coach, if you are looking for post ideas or social media ideas or just inspiration, or you have things saved, because you don't always need to make a post right as soon as it's happening. I take pictures all the time for the future for my Instagram posts. So I have a photo album that I put all of my pictures in, because how many of you guys are like, oh my gosh, there's that thing I wanted to post. And you're like, scroll, like 10,000 selfies, pictures of my kids, pictures of my dog. And you're like, oh my God, I can't find it. And then it's like 15 minutes later and you're just finding a picture. That is in terms of time management, more so, even more. If you are the person that kind of saves those things, you got to create a space for those pictures, for those screenshots, for transformations that people have sent you, for, things that, people have, good things people have said about you, whether it's a screenshot from your group. Like, you have to save that in a place. Create the album now. And if you're like, I don't remember to put stuff in the folder, again, create the habit of doing it. So make it a habit. So like, as soon as you screenshot something, automatically put it in the album. And you have to try it for a bit in order to create that habit. What else? Also, last thing before I get into time management, and I'm actually going to show you kind of a brief, 10-minute version of what my power hour looks like. And just kind of some ideas of what I would do. But, in terms of the team page, some of you guys have your own upline's team page. That's one thing. But if you are just in our Team Confidence team page, and that's the only really team page you're a part of, it is very important in terms of organization to know what's going on for the month. So every beginning of the month, so in the next few days, I will be posting a calendar for all of the dates for February, when we're having our clean eating group, when we're having our coach sneak peek, when we're having our big challenge group, and anything else you need to know. If our clean eating group is happening on, I don't know, the 20th, I'm just making that up. I have no idea what day that is, the 20th, but you don't check the calendar and then you start inviting on the 15th, you're kind of screwed, because it's not even just about you, but it's giving people bad customer service because you're not getting them ready. So when I post a calendar, make it a note. It's always pinned to the top of the page. So check it out. If you have your own calendar, you should be planning out your own groups, your free groups, whatever you're doing, 1 to 3 months in advance. I know pretty much what I'm doing at least 1 to 3 months in advance. Don't plan your month day by day. And I know a lot of you guys are doing that because I did that too. Okay, let's get into time management. So I want to know, before I continue, type in the chat box. So everybody go now. You're going to type in your chat box. What do you think is your number one killer for time management? Just type in the chat box, whatever you think it is. Off the top of your head, what would you say is probably your killer for time management? What stops you from getting stuff done? What do you sit down and do, and you look up and it's 5 hours later and you're like, where was I? You know what I mean? Okay. For me personally, it's ADHD. Mine is 100% ADHD, whatever that may be. There's ADHD, different situations in my life, but overthinking, social media scrolling, knowing what to do, routine, getting interrupted, multitasking too much. Oh my gosh, we're going to talk about all of this, guys. It's great. Trying to accomplish too much at once, social media scrolling, and stories. Okay. Got it. I'm going to read the rest of those comments in a second. But okay, thank you guys. So my number one tip for stopping or for dealing with time management is stop scrolling social media. And I know it's hard, guys, and something that can make you feel better in case you're like, oh my gosh, I totally suck, because you don't suck. It is a physical chemical addiction. You are addicted. You're like, oh, people have drug addictions, people have alcohol addictions. You are addicted to social media. So you have to really understand how detrimental it is, not just for you in general, but for your business. Because and so many of you guys know that is, when you hear coaches talk about all the time, make sure you're not scrolling social media. That is the one thing that, if you could look in the future and 5 years from now, you were in the same spot and your future self told you, guess what? If you just stopped scrolling on social media, you would be making 6 figures right now. That would suck. You'd be like, oh my God, that makes me want to throw up. You wouldn't let it happen. So you have to just make yourself aware that you're doing it. So I have some suggestions in terms of stopping scrolling, because you guys know you shouldn't be doing it. Now, that doesn't mean you can't. I personally do find what I do, I have stopped scrolling. There's occasionally times, I'm not going to say I don't, but I rarely do, because I know how bad it can be. I like to set aside time that I know I'm going to get to scroll, because it is enjoyable to, see funny memes and things like that. I'm not saying you can never do it, but I just think of all the things you could be doing with your life. You're like, God damn, you could learn another language in the time that most people spend scrolling social media. So I like to kind of set aside time that I'm going to scroll. You know what I mean? So I'm on my phone a lot. And so because of my business, so I try to set my scrolling time for maybe at the end of the day when I'm just I don't know, watching TV. I don't really watch TV, but sitting, on the couch, maybe having dinner or something like that. And I have a set time to scroll. So you don't panic and think I'm not gonna be able to see anybody's stuff. it doesn't matter what Susie posted, that video of a monkey dancing with a hot dog on its head. Like, did you really need to see that? Did you? Was it like, did it benefit your life at all? Or did it actually hinder your life? So in terms of stopping it, number one is get the news feed eradicator. It is on Chrome. You have to have Google Chrome as your browser. I do recommend getting it. It's amazing. This is if you're scrolling on your desktop. Most people are scrolling on their phone. But if you have Newsfeed Eradicator, it removes your Facebook like newsfeed. So when you open it, there's nothing there but like an inspirational quote. That's all it is. You still can see your notifications. You still can do everything else. You just don't see your feed. Now you still can get it on your phone, but that's another thing. Number two, remove all push notifications from your phone. And I mean from every single app. Now, the only app I admit I do have on, and it's just because I do get a lot of comments and I occasionally will miss people. And I don't check it when it comes. It just saves it in my notifications in my phone, and I'll check it later. But I have Instagram comments on, but I don't have Instagram. If you have Instagram likes on your phone, I will smack you right now. I love you, but I will smack you, because that is like the silliest thing. I do not need to know that like Sarah liked my picture. Like, I love Sarah. I don't know who Sarah is, but I love her. Don't need to know that she liked my picture. So I don't know when someone comments on a Facebook post. I don't know when someone messages me on Facebook. I still have the app itself, because you do need it as a coach just in case you need to hurry up and quick do something. But I turn off all push notifications. They do not come to my phone, because they're going to be there when you check them. And we're going to talk about how to put those in your calendar and blah, 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 blah. Also, I recommend downloading the Forest app. I'm going to share my screen with you. This is something for people who really, really struggle with scrolling. So it's an app that whenever you want to work, you focus on your work, and you just want to focus on your work. Now, if you're on your phone, that's one thing, but that's why I recommend, before I even get into this, work from your desktop as much as you can, your laptop. Now, if you don't have a laptop, that's fine. But if you have a laptop, do not work on your phone if you can help it. Work on your laptop, because this will help prevent from scrolling. So whenever you want to work and you want to focus on your work, you plant a tree. So you turn on the app and it will plant a tree. The harder you work, the lesser your forest is. And if you leave the app to scroll, you're going to kill your tree. And that sucks. It doesn't feel good. There's lots of other things you can kind of learn about, like how it works. But the cool thing about it is, like, when you go here, it tells you how much time you spent doing X, Y, and Z. And you can kind of see, like, wow, at the end of the week, you can be like, oh my God, I spent 4 hours scrolling. You know what I mean? So it kind of gives you a better idea in terms of like how that works. Okay, so another thing, and you guys know I've talked about this multiple times, is stop using social media first thing in the morning. I can't express to you how much my stress levels have lowered because I don't pick up my phone first thing in the morning. I don't even keep it I've actually been like keeping it out of the room and just using an alarm in my room. There's so many other little things you can do before you touch your phone. Your phone's going to be there. The videos are going to be there. Twitter's going to be there. Instagram stories are going to be there. But for you to put those blue lights and the negativity that possibly could come up on social media, and that just be like what generates and starts stirring up your brain first thing in the morning, is that stuff. It's just not good. And it creates that need first thing in the morning. Like, if you were a drug addict, what's the first thing a drug addict's probably going to do first thing in the morning? They're probably going to go do drugs. So if you are addicted to social media, doing that first thing in the morning is just going to keep instilling it in you to keep doing that. You know what I mean? So the 5-second rule. Before I get into my little power hour, and then that's pretty much it for the rest of the call. I'm going to talk about multitasking too. I'm trying to breeze through this as much as I can, but this is a lot of stuff. But the 5-second rule. So the 5-second rule, if you haven't read the book, it is Mel Robbins wrote the book, and she was going through depression. She didn't have a job. She was struggling with her life, and she was sitting on the couch. She saw this commercial of like a spaceship, and it shot out into the air, and she was struggling getting out of bed. She always hit the snooze button. She wasn't getting out of bed, and she saw the commercial, and she was like, oh my gosh, I should totally like count down like they do with the spaceships and just be like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and launch myself out of bed. So she tried it. So, and it's scientifically proven. If you read the book, it's more than just that 5-second rule. Once you learn more about it, it's really important, but it's about counting down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 when you do something that like you before your mind makes up the decision to do or not do something. So for example, I use it every morning. If I don't want to get out of bed, as soon as I open my eyes and I feel that feeling of I'm staying in bed, I go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and I just get out of bed right away. It actually works. It's not just like some silly thing. It actually works. It will make you get up. And so what I'm talking about in terms of stop scrolling, I used this to help break me of my scrolling, and it helped. It worked. Whenever I noticed myself scrolling, I would go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and just put my phone down. Because most of the time, what do you do when you're scrolling? You negotiate with yourself. You say 5 more minutes. You say, oh my gosh, I'm just going to check this one more person's Instagram story. So when I would get that feeling of I'm just going to check one more thing, even if I was in the middle of a video and it was like world star and I was like, I got to see what's going to happen. I'm like, nope, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And I put my phone down, and you will physically stop. You'll realize that you didn't need to look at that one last thing, and you're fine. So I really recommend that. There was a video I was going to share with you, but it's basically Mel Robbins just saying, for people who ask the question, hey, I've read the 5-second rule and it's not working for me. She says, if you're trying to use a 5-second rule and it's not working for you, you don't want to change. So you have to go dig way deeper past just saying the 5-second rule and figure out what is the reason why you don't want to change. What are you afraid of? So some of you guys may have not read that book, but I really recommend it. Amazing. Okay. Number 2, in terms of time management, stop checking each notification as soon as it pops up. And I'm not going to call anybody out specifically because there's multiple of you guys that have done this, but I notice when you are, some of you coaches that respond right away as soon as I post something. When you do that, I know that you are checking a notification as soon as it pops up. And I want you to stop that. Even though I love when you guys respond to me and I love talking to you, if I post something and I see you immediately answer, I'm like, damn it, what in the world? Like, she was right on top of that. Now, if it happens occasionally, that's one thing. But if you're always the first person to comment, you're always the first person to respond, I know that you are checking notifications as they pop up. So this leads me into my next part. In terms of having a calendar. So I'm going to share with you what my calendar looks like. I've shared this a bunch of times, but I've actually changed some stuff around. So I want to close that. Let's close that. Okay. So let's go to Thursday because my Wednesdays are a little funny. So this is what my calendar looks like. So checking notifications for me does not happen because occasionally it does if I'm looking for an answer for something or I need something right away. But if I'm just going about my normal day, I do not check things. That's why some of you guys might message me, might not get a response right away because I'm following my planner. So when I go about my day, I wake up in the morning, I do my affirmations and meditations. And then this is something I've added recently. So for those of you who've seen me talk about a calendar before, this is new. I have found that some of the things that are on my to-do list, I keep procrastinating. Even if it's on my calendar, I procrastinate. So if you guys have read the book, Eat That Frog. Eat That Frog is about doing the things that you really dread doing, like eating a frog. You know, the thing that you dread doing, but you really need to get done first thing in the beginning of the day. Because if you get it done in the beginning of the day, you don't keep saying, oh, I'll do it at 12, I'll do it at 3, I'll do it at 6. So I've now created, instead of doing anything, I don't even check my phone first. I do my frogs of the day. So for example, my frogs this morning were I had to call my hospital because I had to figure out some issue with being able to log in online, but that was something I kept procrastinating on. I had to pick people to help with Confidence Squad, to help run that group. So I did that right away. I needed to print out 5 sheets of paper, which I had been procrastinating on for literally a month, and I just wasn't doing it. And I also had to call my apartment complex to figure out about how I can and again, this stuff isn't just business related. This is just life stuff. So your frogs may be business related or whatever. Maybe you've really been trying to do a Google form for your challenge group, but you keep putting it off. Put a little section in your calendar that says your frogs of the day. So as soon as it's there, you can go to your to-do list and say, okay, what have I been procrastinating on? I am doing it right now. That has helped me get so many things done. So then next, once I'm done that, because I usually have a lot of things I need to do, this is just for Thursday. I don't do this every single day, but that's just plan some Instagram story things. Then I check Facebook groups, notifications, and messages. I check them all at once. So once I'm done checking in with my groups, checking in with my notifications, and checking with my Facebook messages, I do not go back to them until 1 o'clock. That's it. I check them at 9 to 10 a.m. and then I do not check my Facebook notifications. Like right now, I don't even know. I have 90 notifications. If you have like 10 notifications at a time, you know you are checking your notifications way too much. So that's what I mean by just chunking everything and not checking notifications as they come up. So when I'm checking my notifications, if I get a text message and I see it on my phone, I immediately turn my phone over. I turn it over and I'm like, not checking it. It can wait. If someone texts you, unless your phone is like blowing up 15 times and it's your mom calling, then yes, you need to check your phone. But that text message is going to be there. You have to get it out of your mind that you have to check it as soon as it comes. And if it's a habit, it's okay. You will break it. So finish streaks. So then I go into my Google Streak, which is my way I track my customers, my notifications. And then I figure out, okay, I do as much as I can. I check them with as much people as I can, send my messages to my coaches, my challengers, my prospects, all that stuff. Then once that's done, I am done with it. Then I check email, text, Snapchat, Instagram request, and Voxer. This usually takes me way longer than an hour. But I go and I check all my emails. I check all my text messages. I check them all at once. So if I'm on my phone and I'm checking my text messages, but somebody messages me on Instagram, do not click that top banner. Don't click it. Do not click it. If you see it come up, just wait. Do not click that banner. Finish what you're doing in what you're doing, because multitasking does not exist. It doesn't exist. You cannot multitask. If you, try to do all of those things, it increases the cortisol levels in your body, and the cortisol is the stress hormone that causes fat gain. So you don't want to do that anyway. You're stressing yourself out. You cannot go from, okay, I'm texting somebody. Okay, let me answer this Instagram message. Let me answer this email. Okay, let me check this Facebook notification. If you're doing that, that is number one. I could end the call right now. That is the reason why you're not managing your time, is because you're trying to do 20 different things. So when you're in it, and if you notice you go off task, just stop it and then move back to what you were doing. Then I go back and check Facebook notifications and messages, and then I do my planner tasks. This is from the 12-week year. You can learn about it if you read the book, but planner tasks are like the things that you need to do that day to get things done. So like, for example, mine was send 5 coach invites. And these are the things that help you reach your goal. So like mine was send 5 coach invites. I had to make up a bunch of samples and send things to the post office. And then I had to plan team call. I had to do that. That was my planner task today. If I didn't plan team call, we weren't going to have this call. So those are some of the things that I do. Now I have a long time. And again, this is my entire day because I do this full time. If you are someone who works full time, your schedule is going to look different than this, which is what I'm going to share next really quick. So that's kind of my whole thing about like using your calendar. But I want to show you kind of what it would look like if I was going to do a super quick power hour. I'm not going to do a power hour right now, but I literally want to go through it with you. Okay. So this is what we're going to do. So I already told you my frogs. So I would just, and your power hour. So like, let's say your calendar looks like this, or it looks like this, but you have like, work from this to this, blah, blah, blah. And then at the end of the day, you're going to put work Beachbody business from 7 to 9 p.m. You're going to do it for 2 hours. So you would put all of this stuff in a small section. So you might not have an hour to check your Facebook notifications and messages, but you have 15 minutes. So what I would do is I go to my Facebook messages, and what I do is I click the Facebook notifications, and I just right click, open a new tab, open a new tab, open a new tab. And I do that with every single notification until I get to about here. And then I check all of them. I go through and I check all of them. And then I go and I scroll down a bit more, and I open each one in a new tab so I can check all of them. And then I do whatever I need to do, check in with all of those notifications. And then I keep doing that until I'm done. Then I go to my Facebook messages, and then I always hit here, just in case anybody doesn't know this, I hit unread threads. It only shows you people who are unread. And then I scroll to the bottom, and then I open each one. Then once this is clear, because once you click it, it starts removing people. Once I open all the unread messages, it will be completely empty. Once it's empty, I'm done. So what would be my next thing on my task? Then I would add 5 Facebook friends. So a way that I do that is, let's say I'm a part of this shuffling group, because you guys know I shuffle. So I go here. So I like to pick from Facebook groups. So I'm going to click the group. So it's important to always be adding Facebook friends. If you're not adding new Facebook friends, eventually all the same people are just going to be seeing your stuff. You have to be adding new people. So the cool thing about Facebook groups is if you go to a Facebook group and you click the members, if you scroll down, cool thing is it'll tell you, it'll put people, hold on, does it say here? Hold on, maybe that's not a good one. Wait, let's go to the English Bulldog page because that has it. I just want to show you this because this is something I didn't know about, and it seems like a new feature. So members. Okay, here, yeah. So it says members with things in common. So I go here, and it's easy because you have things in common. So this is a group that has 8,000 people in it. But I do members with things in common. Lives in Philly. This person lives in Pennsylvania. They're an Eagles fan. Boom, super easy. How do we have friends in common. Oh my gosh, how awesome. Mutual friends. Studied at Cabrini. I went to Cabrini. I could add them. Studied at St. Elizabeth High School. That's where I went to high school. Add friend. We have, I know that guy. Well, I don't really add guys. Friends with those people. I already sent some of these people a friend request. But like I do that, and then I do it until I add 5 people. Then boom, done with it. Move on to the next task. Then I do streak notifications. So I need to open Streak. So then I go to Streak. Again, for those of you who don't know, it's just a way to track your customers. There is a video in the team page. If you go to the Files tab at the team page and look for how to track customers using Google Streak File, I have a 2-hour webinar, and it's 2 hours because it helps you set it up. So instead of just watching the call and not doing anything, you watch the call, and once you're finished, you're done. So then I go to Google Streak, which are all in my updates folder. And this is all something I would do in a span of an hour. Obviously, I'm speeding through this. So then let's go to this. So let me open my mirroring. Hold on. So then I go and this is my phone screen. Okay, so then I'd go to my Google Streak, and let's say I do these by order, so I go in the newest. So I would usually go to the very end, like click all the way to the end, but just so I can show you guys this. So let's see an Instagram person. So follow up on Instagram. So this girl. So I click her, and this is easy. This is why I love Google Streak. I know that she's interested in Clean Week. I know that we met on Instagram. This is her Instagram handle. So where is it? Sorry. Okay. So then I would go to Instagram, go to search, Jen LH. I don't go to the explore page and scroll. I go here, I click here, send message. And then I look, I see I sent her an email. I reached out to her. She didn't respond. So then I know that I had sent her an email because she gave me her email. So I click on her name. I go to her emails because it keeps all the emails connected in one box. Again, I teach you how to do this. But then I go to her email, and then look, the last time we talked was January 15th. So I told her I'm having another free group. So then I'm just going to send her a check-in message. So again, something also that's really great with Google Streak is that you have snippets. So here I have scripts. Tons of scripts, so I don't have to write anything. So I'll do a check-in. So I have this check-in. So it says, what's up? I know life can get hectic. Just wanted to check in with you. Send, boom. So then I sent her a follow-up message. So then I'm going to click the reminder. Again, if everybody's freaking out, like, oh my God, I don't know how to do this. I have a video that teaches you. So I'll say follow up for next Clean Week. Because I invited her this one. She missed it. Fine. So I know my next Clean Week is going to be happening since my one just started this month. The next one's probably going to start the first after this month. So I'm going to check in with her on the 23rd of February. 23rd of February. And then boom, done. So it's going to remind me on the 23rd. This is why I don't have to remember to check in with anybody. It's going to remind me on the 23rd, and then I delete. And then I go and I check in with all these people. Some of these people are Facebook people. Some of these people are Instagram people, but that's why I love Google Streak. So then I do that a bunch. And then I check email. So then I go to my email and I do whatever I need to do with email. Then I go to my text messages. I check my text messages. I go check my Snapchat. I check my Instagram requests. So like for Instagram, so you have requests again for some new coaches. So I go here, I have I have 9 requests. So I would go through all the requests. You know, these people, she's looking to be in one of my groups. Obviously all these people. So then I go and I check all my requests, and then I'm only checking my requests. I don't do anything else until I'm done with my requests. Then once I'm done my requests, then I go to my planner tasks. So I would do, posting on Facebook, blah, 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 blah. So you kind of get the idea. That's what I would do in an hour span. So I make sure I finish everything. Now for me, my whole day is basically a power hour because I do this, but I do set aside time for a certain power hour. For me, it's my planner tasks to kind of get everything done. But that is what you can do. If you are a busy person, if you're a busy mom and you have an hour to work your business, you need to have a schedule. So every time you have an hour to work your business, you go, I'm going to do Facebook messages first, Instagram requests, Snapchat, email, check group, blah, 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 and make like a power hour 8 task to-do list. And you don't do anything else. And you do it in that exact order every single day, every single week, every single month, and you will start to generate more of a business because you do that. But if like on Tuesday, you like really, really did your Facebook messages and your notifications, but you never even touched Instagram, your Instagram's going to slack. And then Thursday came along and you totally killed it with your Instagram messages, but you never even did anything on Facebook, your Facebook's going to slack. So if you follow that like 1 through 9 tasks of whatever it is that you need to do, I promise you it will help so much. Okay, so I only have like one more thing to chat about and then I'll let you guys go. I know that we're getting late here, so thank you for hanging in with me. But what's the last thing? Okay, so 2 more things. Number 1, in terms of multitasking. Already kind of talked about it, but multitasking does not work. Do not think you're a superhuman who's like, no, I'm actually really, really good at multitasking, because it's just not possible. What I find helpful for me is to set timers. So you could use the Forest app. But so let's say there's like a task that you really need to do. You're like, oh my gosh, I need to go to work at 12 and it's 10 and I need to get ready by 11. Okay. So I just need to get this done. So at 10 o'clock, I'm like, okay, what's the thing that I have to do right now? And I'll write it on a sticky note. I'll write 2 things. Maybe it's 1 or 2 things. Maybe I have 15 things to do on my to-do list. I only write just 2 things because I know that's all I can get done in this hour span. So I write, okay, I need to do this and do this. And then I take my phone and I say, set a timer for 20 minutes. And then I put the phone down and then I make sure that for 20 minutes, I focus on whatever is that task right there. Then once that timer goes off, whether I'm done or not, unless it's something that maybe you had to get done, I stop that. And then I set another timer. There's something mentally and psychologically about setting a timer that makes you get the thing done. But if you're kind of just like, la, 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 like I have an hour, then you end up scrolling and you don't get anything done. But when you set a timer, it makes you kind of feel like, okay, like once this timer's over, like I don't really feel like doing this right now, because I'm not going to lie, there's some things that I love this business, but I don't feel like doing things all the time. But I know I need to get them done. So those kind of help. Also, little tip just for you to know in the back of your head. I don't know where I heard this stat, but I did, is that checking anything for like 5 minutes, like, when you negotiate with yourself and you say, okay, I'm only going to check Instagram for like 5 minutes, or I'm only going to check this one person's story. When you negotiate with yourself, even for 5 minutes, every time you do something for 5 minutes, it adds 20 minutes on to the end of the work that you're doing. So, because a lot of the time, like let's say you go to check a text message and then an Instagram thing pops up and you're like, oh, okay, you negotiate again. And you're like, oh, but it's my boyfriend. I got to check what he said. And then you go back to that and then your friend texts you again and you're like, crap, well, I was just in the middle of that conversation. I have to go back. And then you just keep negotiating with yourself. And then it's an hour later and you keep saying that your Beachbody business isn't working, but it's just because you got so distracted, you never actually even did anything. I hope that makes sense. Last thing that I want you to take away from this is visualization. This is something that's going to help you actually stick to your goals. It's something I learned from Brendon Burchard. You guys know I love him. If you don't, he's amazing. Check out his podcast. But it's about visualization first things as soon as you wake up. And this is something I've been trying to do lately. But he says the first thing you do when you wake up, before you even get out of bed, before you do anything, is to just sit up, even if you're, next to whatever, you don't have to, whoever, you don't have to say it out loud, just say it in your head. Just take a few deep breaths, close your eyes, don't fall back asleep, close your eyes and visualize yourself striving for your goal, struggling for your goal, and then achieving your goal. Most people, when they visualize their goal, what they do is they just say, like he uses the example of finishing a marathon, and they're like, they just visualize them going across the finish line. But that's not really what you want to do. You want to visualize that, but you have to visualize yourself struggling through training for the marathon. And because when you visualize what you're struggling with, you actually visualize the struggle itself and visualize you overcoming it. So if you see, you are afraid of sending invites. So you wake up in the morning and you see yourself, striving for your goals. So you're getting out there and you're sending the invites, you're making it happen. And then you visualize yourself struggling for the goal, and you see the fear getting in the way, and you see other people saying things that make you like want to crawl inside your skin. And you're just like, oh my God, I can't do this anymore. And then you visualize yourself pushing past that struggle. When you visualize you pushing past that struggle, when it actually happens, you're like, I already did this. I already visualized this. So it's really important to practice visualizing whatever it is your goal is in the morning. This takes 5 minutes. Visualize whatever it is that you want to do and struggling through it and then achieving it. So, okay. I know that was a lot. I hope that was helpful. I want to read really quick through the things. If anybody has any questions in terms of time management or organization that I didn't go over, please ask below. Amanda said, I was debating buying a desk for myself. Yes, like you can get a super cheap one at like Target. I got one back when I lived in LA at Goodwill, and it was super cute. Like it was at Goodwill, but it was like $10. It was super cute. You could buy it. You could stay in it. And things like that, you guys know I'm all hippie. When you do things like that, when you invest money in yourself, maybe even if you don't have the money, you tell the universe, hey, I'm a badass bitch and I'm ready for more goodness to come to me. So the universe is like, oh, wait, shit, she's got a desk? Okay, I'm going to send her a bunch of new clients. Like that has how the universe sees it. So when you do those things for yourself, it just manifests even more stuff. Shanice said, I have planners. I use them for a few days and forget about it. Yeah, it's just about creating the habit that really, really makes it work. Michael's has really cute, cheap planners. You can get them for 50% off. Thank you, Kylie. That's awesome. Good to know. I need to keep track of pictures. Yes, Vanessa. I struggle with that a lot. It helps so much. And once you do that, you like don't even have to worry about it. You're like, I got this photo album. Like I'm not going to spend, because sometimes it takes like, it would take me like 45 minutes to make an Instagram post. I'm like, this is outrageous. Absolutely outrageous. What else? Putting short scroll breaks in my planner. Yes. No, seriously, you can. Cause like, it is fun to like scroll. And sometimes you see stuff, sometimes you get inspired. I save a bunch of stuff, but you want to make them short and sweet. And if you do put a scroll break, you have to either set a timer or not negotiate past. Like once that time comes, you have to I always flip my phone over. There's something about, for me, flipping my phone over that just like in the middle of what I'm doing, that makes me just be like, okay. It's like I basically like bitch slap myself in the face. Like, no. So, yes, Catherine, don't use your phone at all. Just don't. Just don't. I need to find something else to play my music on that helps me sleep. Yeah, definitely try to find something else. Go on Amazon and look for like music playing things. I've even been thinking about doing that for myself for my meditations, because I use my phone for meditations, but I hate that I'm in the middle of meditating and then I go on YouTube and I look for a meditation. I feel very disconnected. So I'm actually even looking into some kind of like music playing thing where I don't even have to touch any kind of technology. It's literally just like some old fashioned thing. I don't even know. Do you have a Facebook app on your phone? I do, but I do not check notifications on it. I don't even really use it, honestly. The only thing I have it for is if I am posting like a Shakeology roll call, and if I take a picture of my Shakeology and I just post it in my group and I'm like, everybody share what Shakeology you had. Like I always do that in my groups. Or if I share like I want to go Facebook Live, that's honestly the only two things I use that app for. I do not ever use it for anything else. And I don't even really use the Messenger app. I do everything on my laptop. Now I know that's not always easy for everybody, but if you can, I would aim to do that. It really, really helps. Add people. So do you just add people without talking to them first? So yeah, I usually only add people if they're in a group. So some people do just add people randomly on like Facebook friends or whatever. I personally like adding people from Facebook groups. So if I add those people who were in the English Bulldog page, I like to add them because it said people that you have things in common with, because they lived in Philly or whatever. But even just the English Bulldog page, I'll add them. And if they message me, which everybody's always afraid people are going to message you, be like, do I know you? That does happen, but it's like 2 times out of 10. And you never know that could start a conversation of somebody that you could change their life, and they could end up joining as a coach and making 6 figures and end up like curing cancer. I don't know. I'm not going to stop reaching out to somebody just because I'm afraid of them being like, do I know you? Like, what are they going to do? Jump through the computer screen? If anybody's ever messaged me that, English Bulldog page, I'd say, oh my God, yeah, like I don't know, I saw you on the page of like things we have in common. It said you were in Philly, plus you like bulldogs. I mean, who doesn't like bulldogs? And they're like, oh my God, my bulldog's so cute. And I'm like, oh my gosh, can you send me a picture of your bulldog? And then we'll just talk about bulldogs, and then we'll become friends, and we'll connect on a different level other than, do you want to be in my clean eating group? Not that that's wrong to do that, but having those other kind of connections is always really great. I met a girl who lived in Philly. It was in my neighborhood page, and we ended up connecting, and she was like a comedian at some like local bar, and I ended up going there and meeting her, and she's like a super cool chick, and I have her number now. She hasn't joined any of my groups yet, but she's super cool. Anyway, okay, awesome. So I'm glad you guys found it really helpful. Sorry it went a little bit over. I was just trying to like get all the information out, but please just make sure that you put this stuff into action. It's so important. Like, a lot of this stuff is not stuff that I haven't talked about before, but you have to decide if like that quote I started the call with, what are you going to do to get the life you keep pretending that you want? And I know it's a tough love quote, but I want you guys to have success. I see it for so many of you. So many of you are kicking butt. So keep kicking all the butt. And when I post this tomorrow, if you guys give me your feedback, let me know, tag anybody that you think should see it. I would really appreciate it. But I'll let you guys go. Thanks so much. Peace out. Bye, guys.